If you want a reliable system to make any difficult subject easy to understand, then you're in the right place. Because throughout my undergrad and postgraduate degrees and now at med school, I've been using the Feynman technique to understand topics efficiently so that I can learn faster and still have time for more of the things that I care about. And I've adapted this technique specifically for students. So I'll go through a step-by-step example of how to use this, and I have an extra point at the end on how to use AI to understand things even faster with this technique. So to start, I have a question. If you're struggling to understand something, what do you typically do? A lot of students rush to research the topic in detail, hoping that it would help them understand better, but they just end up with more unanswered questions as they randomly read new things. So the first part of this technique is choosing exactly what you want to understand and writing your current idea of it as simply as possible that even a child would understand. What I do is make the topic I want to understand into a question. So for our work example, we'll answer the question, what is cancer and why is it difficult to treat? Feel free to pause this video and answer the question or follow along with your own question. And to make it as realistic as possible, a non-medical friend of mine answered this worked example. So my friend's answer for this first part of the method was that cancer is a deadly disease that can affect almost any part of the body and that there are some treatments, but they don't always work. So this shows a limited understanding of the technique right now and leads on to the next part of the technique, which is to analyze and improve your understanding. And there's a specific way to do this. To build your first level of understanding, analyze your explanation by focusing on what you oversimplified. You can figure this out by seeing whether you understand the definition of words and seeing whether some bits aren't specific enough. Like in the example, life-threatening diseases doesn't explain why cancer is so bad, any part of the body isn't specific, and saying there are some treatments doesn't explain why it's difficult to treat. So now to improve understanding, break down your analysis into key questions to find the answers. So for this example, that's searching for what cancer is, why it's life-threatening, what treatments there are, and why it's difficult to treat. From this, my friend learned that cancer is a collection of diseases where abnormal cells grow and divide uncontrollably, and it's life-threatening because cells are the building blocks of all living things, and cancer cells destroy normal cells, so it's effectively destroying you. They also found that the most common cancers are breast, lung, and colorectal, and that there's different treatments depending on the type of cancer, including surgery and drug treatments. So now you have an understanding that's one level higher, and compared to the initial understanding, you can see there's a stronger web of connections, which is part of the idea of this technique. But it's still surface level, so the next part of the Feynman technique is building your second level of understanding by exploring the details. This is by breaking your new understanding down by questioning and interrogating your knowledge, and that's by asking how and why. And look, it works for any subject like it did for Richard Feynman, a physicist, because these questions give you a slightly deeper level of understanding that's personalized to the foundations you built from the first part of this technique. So for the updated example on cancer, that could be asking why are there different treatments for cancer, how do they work, and why is cancer uncontrolled? And from a simple search, my friend found that normal cells have bits of DNA that controls growth, whereas cancerous cells have mutations in the DNA resulting in uncontrolled growth. They also found that some medications attach onto things on cancer cells called receptors, and that can lead to the death of the cancer cell, and the specific treatments for different cancers because they all have different receptors on them. This is just the first cycle of this technique, and it's still very simplified, but you can see the massive difference in understanding from less than 10 minutes of systematically searching for answers. And you might notice there are still some gaps, like what is DNA, what causes these mutations, or why are there receptors on cells. But that leads to the final part of the Feynman technique, which is where you refine your understanding. The good thing is, since understanding is effectively being able to answer why and how, just keep repeating the whys and hows for your explanations until you can answer any question on the fundamentals of the topic. And using AI, which I'll probably get to in the last point, helps you get the right level of understanding. But generally for difficult topics, this takes me about 4 or 5 repetitions, which doesn't take that long. Because unlike cancer, this is a controlled way to grow your knowledge through a systematic process so that you don't waste time researching random and irrelevant things. You start at the center and work your way out. So before the last point on maximizing this technique using AI, being able to visualize concepts makes learning easier because it's difficult to understand by just thinking of words or numbers. And look, you can trust what I'm about to say because I've been learning visually for the past 2 months to understand complicated subjects. And the free and easy way you can do this too is through our quick sponsor of the video, Brilliant, the best online learning platform to learn sciences, maths, and computer science interactively. I've used Brilliant every day for 60 days now, and I've genuinely enjoyed learning how to program with Python because Brilliant taught me the basics of programming through a hands-on approach so that I had my foundations built. Like when I was doing the programming in Python course, I had to manipulate a math problem through coding, which at first felt like something I couldn't do. But because Brilliant built my core knowledge of programming through an engaging process, I had a good enough understanding to pass the problem. And programming or not, there's something for everyone, because there's thousands of lessons covering basic to advanced topics in maths, sciences, engineering, and more, with new lessons added every month. And it's a fun and modern way to apply Feynman's technique. Like the guided lessons helped me understand concepts through exercises, with helpful hints that filled gaps in my understanding to get me back on track. And you can learn a lot in just 10 minutes a day of using it, whether that's on your phone, laptop, or tablet, so it's perfect for busy students. So to try everything Brilliant has to offer, free for a full 30 days, visit brilliant.org/Salim Ahmed or click the link in the description. The first 200 of you will also get 20% off Brilliant's annual premium subscription. So now you know how to use the Feynman technique for studying. But I said that you can use AI to make it even more effective, and that's in 2 ways. The first way is using AI software like ChatGPT for personalized feedback. All you have to do is copy your understanding of a topic and ask it one of the following prompts. And to make it even more personalized, make it aware of your education grade so that it knows the level of detail you need to know, so that you don't go down an endless spiral of the last part of Feynman's technique, constantly asking why and how. The second way is to use it as a knowledge base, and that's by using any of the following prompts here. This is going to save you time by directing you to the right resources, or just directly explaining things you might be missing out. And again, make sure to personalize it to your education grade, so understanding topics properly helps you remember for longer and makes it easier to get through difficult subjects. But understanding to perform better in exams is just one part of studying as a student and just one part of your student life. So in this video here, I talk about how I've developed top 1% student habits to help me live a productive student life, so that I can study effectively and work on more of my personal goals. And you can do this too by watching the video.